What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 33, and we start today's episode off here with a game against Panathinaikos in the Europa League, coming on the back of that very disappointing defeat away at the Britannia Stadium against Stoke City. So coming to this game, the Europa League third game of the group stage so far. With us top of the group and Panathinaikos bottom of the group, I saw this as an ideal chance for me to rest a lot of players, give a lot of players a night off, and give some chances to some fringe players as well. Coming into this game against Panathinaikos, of course, in the Europa League, the board have asked us to reach the final of this competition. I don't know whether we'll do so or not, but I do want to make sure we at least get out of the group stage, and winning this game will go a long way for us being able to do that as well. That will give us 7 points after the opening 3 games, and what a fantastic start to this game as well. 16 minutes in, first chance of the game, we won ourselves a corner. It was whipped in by John Joe Shelby, one of the rare first team players starting this game, and Etienne Capoue gets his head on the end of the cross and puts it past the goalkeeper and makes it Watford 1, Panathinaikos 0. So perfect start to this game. In the 24th minute, a good chance for Panathinaikos to equalise, though this shot going just wide the post and behind for a goal kick. And in the 32nd minute, well, how about this? In the last episode, I discussed whether this year's FIFA is too difficult this year. I mean, one key thing that a lot of people have been complaining about this year is how hard it is to pass the ball and keep hold of the ball. First touches go astray, passes regularly go away from where you're directing them. But the AI, they never seem to have that problem, do they? For us, when we want to have a nice passing build-up, sometimes it can be quite difficult, but for the AI, it's pretty simple to do stuff like this. I mean, this is just easy, isn't it? Absolutely so easy. I mean, yeah, sure, if you want, you can call it bad defending, that's fine. I know my defending's pretty bad anyway, but that was just simple passing just to cut open my defence there from a free kick close to the halfway line, which posed no threat to our goal, and in the end Panathinaikos get a goal out of it and equalise to make it Watford 1, Panathinaikos 1. So I was so frustrated about that goal because it just sums up how this year's FIFA is really. For you can't do stuff like that very often, but the AI can do it whenever they want. It's really annoying. Still Watford 1, Panathinaikos 1, but literally right from kickoff we gave the ball to Ryan Tala, who wins us a free kick, and he also gets an assist for the goal as well to put us back in front. So just 2 minutes after conceding the equalising goal, Berghaus scores to make it Watford 2, Panathinaikos 1, and Ryan Tala wouldn't get credit with the assist for this goal. It was a drilled shot, that's why, not a cross into the box, but it was a brilliant cross, exactly what I wanted to do that. Drilled it across the ground, thought I could cause a scramble, did just that, and Berghaus pounces and makes it Watford 2, Panathinaikos 1. So back in front minutes after conceding. Once again, Panathinaikos went pretty close here in the 44th minute, but this shot went just wide the post and behind for a goal kick. And half time, as you can see, Watford 2, Panathinaikos 1 was the scoreline. A pretty balanced first half. We had more of the possession, and of course the most important factor was the goals as well. So 2-1 at the break. But in the second half, just 3 minutes after the restart here, once again some pretty poor defending by me here as Nano gets himself inside. Don't know where I was going with Sam Barham, who I brought off the bench at half time. Wish I didn't now, because that was very poor from me there. And Nano gets his second goal of the game to make it Watford 2, Panathinaikos 2. So Panathinaikos back on level terms. He must have been shuffling after that. That's very poor, isn't it? But a very good finish there by Nano. He makes it Watford 2, Panathinaikos 2. Doesn't even make sense, does it? But still Watford 2, Panathinaikos 2. Nano with the goal there. Pretty poor defending, but Jack Butland shouldn't really get beat at his near post there. I'm more than willing to hold my hands up and admit that defensively that was very poor. But either way, Butland has been fantastic since coming in at the start of the first season. He should have been doing better there, but it was Watford 2, Panathinaikos 2. Charlie Austin should have retaken the lead for us though in the 58th minute. Very poor finish by our striker playing in place of Troy Deeney, but just a couple of minutes later we would get ourselves back in front for the third time in the game. Ryan Tala getting the goal and making it Watford 3, Panathinaikos 2 on the stroke of the hour mark. Pretty poor defending by the Panathinaikos player there. That was a theme for this game really, poor defending all round, and Ryan Tala's finish finds the back of the net, and that's now his third goal in 3 games in the Europa League as well for Marco the Magician, as we'll be calling him from now on. He's had a very good start to this competition, and you never know, he could possibly be going for the golden boot in this competition. Still Watford 3, Panathinaikos 2. Felivi came off the bench in this game and should have secured the points in the 89th minute. Great save by Luke Steele though, and he turned it behind for a corner, but it was how the game would finish, so that miss by Felivi doesn't matter. We hold on for the win. Final score Watford 3, Panathinaikos 2. Delighted to bounce back after that disappointing loss to Stoke in the last game, and as you can see, Panathinaikos did win a possession battle in the game, but I thought we played better, and I'm very glad we did pick up the 3 points. points as well. So still top of the table after 3 games in the Europa League. Really pleased with that, because I don't know whether we can reach the final or not this season. I think that might be a little bit too difficult for us. That's what the board want us to do. I think that might be a little bit too difficult for us for our first season in Europe. But just getting out of our group and hopefully topping the group as well is really important. So after halfway stage now in the Europa League, being top of the table, very pleased with that. And 7 points after 3 games, it's not a bad start whatsoever. And hopefully in the second half of the group stage as well, we'll be able to pick up another 7 points possibly. That would be really good. 2 wins and a draw too, and we'll get 14 to end it and remain top of the group to finish the group stage of the Europa League. Still, we take on Sunderland for the second game of today's episode here, the second of 3 games in today's episode here at Vicarage Road as they come and take us on. Of course, the last league game was a defeat to Stoke City, so coming into this one, we needed to bounce back and get back to winning ways and hopefully make it 2 wins out of 2 in all competitions. And the first chance would fall in the 10th minute as we won ourselves a penalty as well. Bertrand Traore was was sent tumbling down by Alvaro Dominguez, and the referee had no hesitation in awarding a spot kick there. Right decision, and a great chance for Troy Deeney to score his first goal in 7 games, I believe it is, and he would do so as well. Really good penalty. And yeah, sure, don't get me wrong, penalties on this game are quite easy to score, just like last year's, but either way, they all count. Troy Deeney's not bothered. He makes it Watford 1, Sunderland 0, and it's great to see him hit the back of the net again as well. It's been too many games without a goal for Troy Deeney, who got, 17, 18 goals last season, joint top scorer in the Premier League. It's been way too long for him to not get a goal in the Premier League. Good to see him notch one up there, and that's now his 4th in the Premier League to start the season off. So Watford 1, Sunderland 0, Deeney converting a penalty. He almost got his second goal of the game 7 minutes later. Great save by Kostel Pantilimon though, and the Romanian makes a good stop to deny Deeney from getting his second and keeping it at Watford 1, Sunderland 0. Sunderland then had their first chance of the game in the 24th minute. Fabio Borini going pretty close there, but the former Liverpool man puts his shot just wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. And a good chance again for Sunderland here as Sebastian Larsson swings in his free kick, but once again Fabio Borini can't hit the target and the header goes wide of the post from the Italian. So still Watford 1, Sunderland 0. That was the score at half time. It was a pretty balanced first half, in all honesty. We were leading through the penalty, but Sunderland weren't playing too badly at all. But in the second half, they just didn't seem to care at all. They barely came at us at all in the second half. We had the first chance of the second half 8 minutes before the end. Marco Ryan Tyler coming off the bench, looking for his second goal in 2 games, but the magician had his shot well saved by Pantilimon. And in stoppage time, once again, Sunderland were really exposed at the back, barely doing anything going forward, yet leaving very few bodies at the back. Dominic Iorfa, also off the bench, was denied by Pantilimon again. And in stoppage time, John Joe Shelby's corner picks out Joel Matip, but his header was headed off the line by Billy Jones, I think it might have been, and eventually Capu's header goes over the bar and behind for a goal kick. But it was how the game would finish. Final score, Watford 1, Sunderland 0. And you know, Sunderland in this game, it was just so bizarre, but in the first half they were playing quite well. They had quite a few good chances, particularly for Fabio Borini, but in the second half they just didn't really seem to care at all. They had a possession but not enough shots, and I think we deserved the win, even if it was just by the 1 goal which Deeney scored from a penalty. Pantilimon did pretty well as well in this game. He got man of the match despite being on the losing side. If it wasn't for him, we could have scored 2 or 3 more goals. But either way, great to get back to winning ways in the league after the disappointing defeat to Stoke in the last league game. And of course, now 2 wins in all competitions in 2 games after that win against Panathinaikos in midweek. Really pleased with that, because we need to make sure we get this consistent run of form back, you know. This season, I am so desperate for us to break into the top 4. It's going to be very difficult indeed. I know that. We're in 4th place right now after the opening 10 games, but we need to make sure that we win those games there against those sides like Sunderland at home. We can't afford slip-ups in those games at all. We need to make sure we pick up maximum points. I'm glad we got it, and yeah, sure, don't get me wrong, it's a penalty that wins us the game, but at the end of the day, 3 points is the most important thing, and I'll take that all day long. So great to get a win in that game. The third game of today's episode though was going to be against Spurs here away from home. We've had a very good start to the season. We take them on here at White Hart Lane. Last season, of course, we did beat Spurs at Vicarage Road, and away from home at White Hart Lane, we drew the game, I do believe. So coming into this one here, we were desperate to make sure we pick up at least a point. These are the type of games you can't afford to lose if you do want to break into the top 4 against sides who will also be going for a top 4 place coming the end of the season. But the first opportunities were falling to Spurs. They were looking very good early on. We had to weather the storm in the first half, really, despite having more possession. Jack Butler made a couple of great saves, and of course that shot there by Ryan Mason going just wide of the post kept the score at 0-0 going into the break. And just past the hour mark here, we had our first proper chance of the game. Bertrand Traore goes down the right-hand side, chips it into Buffal, and Lloris makes a really good save, and eventually Walker gets it behind for a corner. So good stop there by the French goalkeeper. And from the corner, John Joe Shelby swings the ball into the centre, looks for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who wins the header, but puts it wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. Hasn't really done too much of note this season, Loftus-Cheek, apart from scoring on the opening game of the season. Could have found the back of the net there with a good chance from the header, but couldn't hit the target. But it was how the game would finish. Final score 0-0, so good to get 2 clean sheets in a row. But to be honest, once again, it sort of summed up this year's FIFA, really. In the second half, the AI did nothing other than play for possession. Hey, don't get me wrong, I'm going to take it. I'll take a goalless draw away at White Hart Lane any day of the week. But either way, it's still pretty frustrating to know that I wanted more chances in that game, if nothing else to show you. But either way, the points are the most important thing, and we'll take a credible one away at White Hart Lane. But that does end the episode, guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode of Career Mode, then please do leave a like, so it's much appreciated. It really does help my channel out. I'm sorry that right now my commentaries might feel a little bit tired. Obviously, I'm absolutely shattered since moving into the new flat. I've had so many things to do, but regardless, hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, then please do leave a like, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode tomorrow afternoon.